Okay, welcome everyone. So that's a tap, our weekly roundup with CT and DJ for all fight fans. We got you covered on all the latest. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling great. Here we are, back again for another episode on the back of another great UFC card. We got some fight news as well, so we're doing our roundup. Right, man, look, man, nothing excites me like obviously the fights, they excite me, the news, they excite me, but what excites me the most is to be able to sit here with you and talk about these fights. So, got my man CT right next to me, and we're about to break some shit down.
And you all in the comment section, join in the convo, give us your thoughts, we want to hear from you. But we'll start off with the card on the weekend, UFC.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, headed back. Quite eventful, good co-main, good main. Some controversy with the eye poke.
Yeah, absolutely.
What stands out?
Man, for me, look, the standout for me was the main event and the performance of one Ilya Topuria, who's a rising featherweight contender. You could even say title contender at the moment. So we got that for me sort of stole the show. I love the core main event. We've obviously had Justin Tuffer fighting in that card as well, and then we also had Jack Jenkins from our own backyard. So some great fights, man, great card. I actually liked how the core main event, Macy Barber comes back and puts out a statement-making win. Right, kind of showed off all her skills, especially in the striking department, but also showed how well-rounded she was in terms of defending takedowns, but also landing takedowns of her own, controlling our opponent in the ground as well. So, a lot of things, but hey, let's start with the main event. What were your thoughts on the main event?
Big time. Topuria was, a favourite of mine, a guy coming up, and as was Emmett, because he's exciting, big power, knockout power. But Topuria's rise has been really, really exciting to see in the division, in the UFC. Big things ahead for him. Statement win. Wasn't surprised. Emmett did always sort of have that knockout power, but Topuria he's just an absolute savage overall. And I just think, we could be looking at a guy who really does become champion one day or contend.
Absolutely, man. You spot on. Topuria has been someone now that I've learned to like a lot. I could even call myself a fan of his. I like his style of fighting. I love the tenacity that he brings to the game, and sort of, his body of work, especially within the UFC. Let's not forget the guy is undefeated, and for all the right reasons. You could see the skill set that he possesses in this fight, right? He went up against a top guy, right? Josh Emmett just fought for an interim title, right? So he just comes off and obviously arguably gets dominated. But it was a good fight. It was an entertaining fight. There was a lot of back and forth. But ultimately, the way I looked at it was that Ilya Topuria just dominated that fight, winning it 5-0 or 4-1, according to a few people. There was also a 10-7 card in there by one of the judges. There were some dominant rounds. It's just, man, look, the one thing that I noticed was how much of a boxing fight it was. Josh Emmett did let Topuria play his game and allowed it to be a boxing match. It could have used a little bit more leg kicks, mixed it up a little bit more, tried a bit more takedowns, given a few different feels and different looks to sort of confuse him. Obviously, it didn't happen. And look, we know Josh Emmett is also a very explosive fighter, and he enjoys sort of being in those situations and trading with your opponent. So I think that's what happened. I think at least for the majority of the fight, we saw a boxing fight, but what we were lucky enough to see through that was how much of a great boxer, a great striker Ilya Topuria is. And what's even more scarier for his opponents is that he's not just a striker, he's a well-rounded fighter. We saw it in the Bryce Mitchell fight, we've seen that in the Jai Herbert fight, and all these other fights, that he is also able to, his wrestling, his grappling skills are also up there, on par. So I think, great prospect in terms of title contention. I'd love to see him fight for the title next, after Alexander Volkanovski defends his title against Yair. We don't know what happens there, but obviously the winner to face for the title challenger. If you ask me point blank, right, does he beat Alexander Volkanovski right now? I don't think so. I do believe Alexander Volkanovski is his skill set is a lot more superior.
Right.
But again, man, like they always say this in the game of fighting, confidence goes a long way.
Yeah.
He draws confidence from not just dominating a top 5 guy, but also having that undefeated streak. The way he carries himself, the way he speaks, he is very confident. He's actually told that he's intending to knock out Volkanovski. Look, the confidence is great. I just do think that Volkanovski is a tough matchup, not just for him, but for anyone. Obviously, he's one of the pound-for-pound greats. But man, it's just good for the featherweight division, right? If not Volkanovski, who would you like to see Ilya fight next?
Yeah, good question. I think definitely, if let's say in our world we prefer Volkanovski to win, Yair is going to need an opponent coming off a loss. Yeah. And I think that could be the next number 1 contender fight. Yeah. You know, let's say Yair loses. Yeah. Yair Topuria. Yeah. That could co-main a pay-per-view. That could headline a fight night. Yeah. That could be awesome. Yeah. Also, I'm thinking if Volkanovski wins, he might be looking long term, like, hey, now's the time for me to move up. Yeah. Like I've defended again. I'm featherweight king. Yeah. I want to focus more on lightweight. Yeah. And then the door opens up for all these guys. So how long do you think realistically you could see Volkanovski being in featherweight? Like,
I mean, the way he's been speaking, I feel like he wants to do both divisions. He wants to continue dominating both divisions. So I think he'll probably do it a little bit more than just one more. I think, especially when you've got guys like this in the sideline, right? You've got Ilya Topuria. It's an exciting matchup. Yeah. You got Calvin Cater, who still hasn't had an opportunity to. You know, we got Giga Chikadze was coming up, and then obviously he bumped into Calvin Cater, and had a tough fight. And we haven't seen him back in the octagon yet, right?
Oh man, let's not forget Singapore, Holloway Zombie.
Yeah. So look, that's a big fight, right? And I was just about to mention that because Ilya Topuria said in the post-fight press conference, look, if not the title fight, the only other fight that excites me is Max Holloway in Spain, right? Now, it's a big if and a big ask, right? Now, also the other thing is, would you, if you're the UFC and you got this undefeated fighter who's managed to now get a big fan following as well, and everyone's like, even the fighters and fans alike are asking for the Volkanovski fight. I think we want to see Ilya fight for the title next. Would you risk that decision by putting him against someone like Max Holloway, who we know steamrolls his opposition unless their name is Alexander Volkanovski, right? So that's a huge risk for the company to take as well. Good and point. You don't want to find yourself in that position where you've got all these great contenders, but then they go through this number 1 contender who's been beating everyone else, but falls just short when it comes to the champion. Yeah. Same thing with the middleweight division, right? Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya. Robert Whittaker's been beating everyone else, so the risk situation is the same. But would the UFC risk that? Or another fight I'd like to see is I like your idea of if Yair were to not be successful, and obviously it's a tough fight for Volkanovski, and he himself said it's a tougher fight than Islam. Yeah. Right? Because Islam's, the fighting style is well known. We know what he's going to do, whereas with Yair Rodriguez, he's very unpredictable, and he is quite explosive, right? But if not, I like that idea of him maybe fighting potentially the loser of that fight, or the winner, without a doubt, the championship fight. Or I wouldn't even mind seeing him when Calvin Cater.
Yeah, I was going to say Cater.
You know what I mean? Cater's been up there floating around trying to get a title shot. And he's another fighter, so he could do well there, right? Yeah. We've got Mosbar Evlog, who's in that division as well, who's climbing up the ranks too. So featherweight's looking really good. And let's not
Sandhagen, don't we?
Sandhagen's 135.
135.
But hey, let's not be so quick to forget the Brit, Arnold Allen. Yes. Right? He just fought Max Holloway. And like I said, Max Holloway ain't no easy fight, right? Like, I mean, he had an 11-fight win streak, Arnold Allen, and just bumped into Holloway, and then, he obviously missed that opportunity to fight for the title. So that's the thing. Do you run that same risk with another guy, right? So
it's sort of, let's say Max does win though. Like, who do you give him next? And I think Zombie retires, by the way. If you
I feel regardless, I feel this Zombie's retirement fight, and I also feel like regardless of the outcome, I think we can expect a an announcement from the Max Holloway camp saying that he's going up to the 155-pound division.
Yeah.
I know it makes a lot more sense, right? There's a lot more fights there for him. There are fights where he's let's not forget he's got a win over Charles Oliveira. Let's not forget that, right? He's also a very good fighter. The last time he went up, he fought Dustin Poirier for the interim title. Obviously, he didn't take enough time to pack on the muscle, and we saw that size playing a part. But still, man, there's some good fights for him up there as well. Because, like you said, if Volkanovski were to hold on to that title, which I strongly feel he will, you know, what is there for Max?
Yeah, people
you know what I mean?
kind of lose a little bit of interest with the Volk situation being so dominant.
Yeah.
Not saying he wouldn't want to continue fighting, because I think he enjoys it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a time to shift focus and try to win the other belt. That's his legacy. He wants to be a dual belt holder.
And I feel like the UFC is aligned with that because if you really look at it, we can see that they have not announced the Abu Dhabi main event. We've been told it's going to be Islam Makhachev, but they have not announced it. There could be for a number of reasons. But obviously, there was Charles fight happening. There's the Justin fight happening, and then there's also the Volkanovski fight happening now. There could be, let's not forget that fight in February was termed as one of the best fights, right, and one of the best super fights ever, and rightfully so, right? High level skill set, all of that. Dana White's very excited to do that fight. He said, let them both defend one more time, and then we'll do it again. Now, if Volkanovski also has a shutout performance against Yair Rodriguez, but they could be like, hey, you know what? October's in 4 months' time, right? Let's get you to another camp. Let's do the rematch. Yeah, and Wolf's been calling for it. I'll come to Abu Dhabi now. I'll fight you there, right? So look, that's probably a big possibility. Because I would have thought the way Charles Oliveira won, they might announce that fight, saying, okay, we're going to do the rematch, which, again, Dana said that's the fight that makes sense as well. Yeah. But we'll see what direction. I think the UFC will wait to see the Dustin fight and the Wolf fight, which is all happening in the same month, and then they'll make a decision based on which one went well and who kind of matches up well in terms of revenue generation as well, right? Because they would want, especially with Islam in Abu Dhabi, they'd want to make a good fight.
Definitely.
They want to deliver a good main event, right?
A lot of different storylines that are possibilities, which is good. You always want kind of like, we don't know the finite details yet, but the wins and the losses will dictate like what's next. But we're pretty confident we'll see a Volk Makhachev again at some point, even if it's not coming up. They've got to fight again. Like it was one good fight,
I think so,
and they both sort of will meet.
It was a close fight, right? The whole world was divided. Verdict was, had Wolf winning, and we had some claim Islam won, some claim Wolf won. So like, there's a lot of divided.
Yeah, I've even thinking of something. Let's say Conor doesn't make, we'll address Conor probably in a bigger medium, rather than this weekly roundup. But let's say Conor doesn't make the fight, the timeline with Michael Chandler. A Volkanovski, Chandler would be left with someone. That would be an amazing another fight for Volk to move up and have.
I agree. It would be fireworks, man. Like I would tune in to watch that fight. The only thing though is like the position in which Volkanovski is, being one of the pound for pound top fighters, being the champion of the featherweight division. Right, anything other than a fight for the belt doesn't make sense in the other division, right? Once he gets the belt, that's a whole different story. Then you've got all this. Think of Wolf versus Dustin.
Oliveira.
Wolf versus Oliveira. My God, like what I mean? Like it's mouth-watering, man. Like, but look, there's a lot to unpack there. But I think for the time being, let's see how the fight goes with Yair. Man, Wolf looks very confident, right? And always they always prepare really well. So I'm expecting nothing short of another masterclass forward. So
so that's the featherweight, and then the main event, which was great. But Emmett also, you can't forget him. I mean, I saw him live against Yair. Yeah. Obviously, he's had two tough losses now to two really good opponents. Yeah. But are we just sort of finding out that there's a level to Emmett's sort of potential? Like he's a great fighter, but maybe he's going to stay around the fifth to 10 ranked kind of guy, I think, and just beat up on some.
He's got power, right? He's got unprecedented power for that 145-pound division, right? The only thing is his fighting style is more of a brawler type, right? He just wants to stand and bang, right?
It doesn't left open.
Yes, and it doesn't necessarily work against some top-level elite strikers and fighters. We saw that with Ilya Topuria. We will. That'll be the same case with someone like Max Holloway, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different story there, right? But nothing to take away from the toughness of Josh Emmett, right? Like he had probably one of the two of the toughest rounds in like the third and fourth round, and he came back pumped up for that fifth round, and he was actually for the first part of that fifth round was like throwing with bad intentions and kind of had Ilya take the back foot a bit, right? But I do have to make mention of how great Ilya Topuria's fight IQ is, his patience, his ability to adjust, his defense, his offense, man. Like, hey, for me, it was very beautiful to watch. I could have seen like 10 rounds of it.
Yeah.
That's how good it was. So yeah, man, great fight. And then we go into the core main though, right? Core main event had Maisie Barber taking on Amanda Ribas, right? In the featherweight division, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Is that, like, let me just confirm that.
It turned out to be amazing.
It turned out to be flyweight, my bad, flyweight, right? It turned out to be, like you said, correct, an amazing fight. Did you enjoy the fight?
I did. Yeah, twists and turns, bloodshed, as you see on some of the graphics.
Forth, man,
but two really popular names in that division.
Yeah.
Like, I think, since I've been following the UFC, like, they've always stood out. Amanda Ribas' sort of chemistry, her personality, as Dana said, is very warm, it's likeable. Macy Barber, fight fan favourite, OG.
Contender Series
Yeah.
alumni, right? Yeah. So she came to the Contender Series, and we had Amanda Ribas. She shot to fame during the lockdown period when he had Yas Island cards, and when she was very like her personality was out there, and Dana was quite fond of her and promoting her and stuff. Obviously, Macy Barber, same story, but she obviously wanted to be the youngest champion. She could. But look, I think she sort of fell out of grace with the fans after the Roxanne Modafferi fight.
Yeah.
And she lost the fight, but then kind of took the microphone. That whole incident left a sour taste in most of the fans. But I think she's come a long way since then. Obviously, she had that very also not controversial in terms of the decision, but like the way in which she fought Alexa Grasso, and she had a loss there too. But then since then, I believe she's put on a 5-fight win streak.
Yeah.
And this one probably was arguably one of the best performances out of her in recent times. She dominated the fight. She was able to dictate the pace of the fight, where the fight took place. She was extremely well-rounded. She showcased that. If there were any criticism in the past about her striking, she was able to put that to rest. Again, she went against a quality opponent. And man, like Amanda Ribas took some damage, man. She was on wobbly legs in that second round before she was put away. They were both bleeding, obviously, and either girl wasn't gun shy. They were willing to engage and let their hands go. And the result was a great fight. I think Macy Barber won performance of the night for that.
I'm glad they put on for the fans. As a co-main, it just made this fight night even bigger. After, especially, we'll get into the next, the one earlier, with the no contest, with the Aussie tougher. But sort of what I just want to hear you give your thoughts on what's next for these two female fighters.
Well, Amanda Ribas, will really quickly touch on that. She's always going to be that name that you get, like a Tony Ferguson, like a Bobby Green. You know what I mean? In that division, she's still a recognizable name, which she could be used anywhere. And they'll have some fights for her. But then we got also Macy Barber with Alexa Grasso having taken on the championship, right? We see that division open up, right? Now that'll be a rematch for Macy Barber if Alexa Grasso would have retained that title with Valentina Shevchenko, right? We've got Erin Blanchfield in that division as well, who's now fighting Tyler Santos. I feel like Erin Blanchfield, if she were to win, she's laid a stronger claim to the title shot than Macy Barber. But again, look, Macy Barber could fight. Has she fought Caitlin Chukagian yet? I don't think so. She could fight her. That could be another one of those fights. She hasn't fought Jessica Andrade. To fight her. So I think, if Valentina were to lose again, maybe that's a good fight for Macy Barber if she wants to fast track that title shot. Nothing better than beating a dominant former champion. That is if Alex Agrasso were to retain the championship. So either way, I think for Macy Barber it'll either be a. Let's not forget, she was obviously ranked 11. She'll probably get into the top 10 now.
Yeah.
But in some of these divisions, man, it's just only a couple of fights. You're only a couple of fights away from, going up there and challenging for the title. So, but look, the future is bright for Macy Barber. Right?
Most definitely.
We got the bad man, Justin Taffa. Unfortunate man. Like I feel like he was en route to winning this fight, right? I felt like Austin Lane had no answers for Justin Taffa, but then the accidental eye poke, which was a very, very bad eye poke. It was literally bleeding out of his eye. I hope he's okay. I hope there's no long-term damage, because this could be career-ending, right? Like, so hopefully everything's okay. The fight was stopped. It was a no contest. I believe something as bad as that should be maybe looked at as a DQ. You know what I mean? Like it altered the entire fight. And if you look at how far the fight had progressed, you could argue, okay, well, I know it was only still the first round, but Justin Taffa was having success. So I don't know, like it's painful to see these things, not just physically, but the fighters do tend to lose a lot, the win bonus and all these kind of things, because they do put a lot into these fights, right? So
that is, I completely agree with what you said. Although unintentional, if a fighter severely, obviously both fighters lose out, but if one guy eye pokes someone, regardless of being unintentional, the person who suffers pretty significant damage, you raise a point where they could be, considered the winner by disqualification. But I've really got to look at it again more closely. But I'll tell you what, the Toughers haven't had the best run recently with his brother, who was going to fight in Perth, but had someone pull out. And then I think he lost his last fight.
He fought Kamaru Usman's brother, Mohamed Usman. He lost that one. But man, they come to fight. They're always game. I always love watching them fight. It's always entertaining, and they just don't take a back foot. They just keep coming, and like they throw hands. So hopefully, man, like speedy recovery to Justin Taffa, and we're hoping to see him, have a quick turnaround. Hopefully, maybe we might see him in Sydney. Let's see. Then we had obviously David Onama. Like a knockout win, and then he sort of emulated Israel Adesanya with his celebration after the win with the arrows, which was acknowledged by the great middleweight champion. We had Brendan Allen, a first round submission, which was also good. That was, I believe, the pay-per-view starter. We had Neil Magny.
Hands of Steel, Neil.
Yeah, that's the other one. That's Hands of Steel. Jeff Neal.
Okay.
Jeff Hands of Steel Neil.
Which Neil was this one?
This is Neil Magny, the Haitian sensation.
Oh, Neil Magny. Okay.
And he fought Phil Rowe. Obviously got another decision win. Was a split decision though. We had Randy Brown.
Rude Boy Brown.
Rude Boy Brown back in the win column.
Okay.
It was a unanimous decision. There was another fight, man, that really caught my eye. I know the main event got fight of the night, which, look, it was deserving of it, but I wouldn't have been upset if this particular fight had won fight of the night. There was another, it was a lightweight bout between Trevor Peake and Tim Mariscal. That was just a back and forth, frantic fight. I just was shaking on my seat, man. Like, it was such a frantic fight. If you watched that fight, and if you didn't know who these gentlemen were before the fight, I can guarantee like that was an intense fight. I hope they got taken care of behind the scene, because they absolutely deserved it, man. It was a great fight. It was a unanimous decision win for obviously Mariscal, but it was a really, really good fight.
Great show.
Then we also had another one of our own, Jack Jenkins, take on Jamal Emmett. Right? Now, there was a lot of controversy prior to the fight, with Jamal Emmett struggling to make weight, and he had to actually shave his head to make weight, which he did. And great fight. It was a tough fight, to be honest. But it was a split decision win. But that was what it was. It was a close fight, and I felt Jack Jenkins did enough to win. And he walked away with the win.
It was, amazing what fighters have to do. But credit to him for making sure he made weight.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a pretty exciting fight night. You know, not the biggest names, but Jacksonville UFC love going back there ever since. You know, they were the first one during COVID, I think. In Florida. And the UFC will continue to go there. Obviously, we're inching closer to the International Fight Week.
That's a big
2 more weeks. God. We got a card this weekend, which isn't as flashy.
Yeah, we got Sean Strickland. That's always fun, right? He's fighting Magomedov, I feel. So we got that one. But then the big ones the following weekend with International Fight Week. It's actually a technical International Fight Month, right? We got 2 massive cards, both exciting cards, crazy fights, packed with entertainment and excitement. We got Volkanovski, Robert Whittaker, all these great fighters fighting. And then in the later one we got Justin and Dustin going at it. We got Alex Fahad and Pereira back. There's so many exciting fights, man. July is traditionally a great month to be a UFC fan. So, I mean, the only thing better than watching these fights is being there in person in Las Vegas, because they do the International Fight Week specials, like the fight appearances and all those kind of things, Q&As. But look, we'll enjoy it as much as we can from down under. And look, we don't have too long to wait for the Sydney card, right? I feel like the Sydney card will start shaping up after July 8th. Because then they'll know the outcome of some of the big names down here, and they'll sort of shape up the card based on that. But that's the main event, right? Australia Adesanya versus the winner of Rob Whittaker or Dricus du Plessis. We'll obviously do a preview next week, but it's a great card. Very excited to can't wait, right?
Definitely. Now we've got to before we get on to the sort of big story novelty at the moment with the Zuckerberg and Elon Musk possibility with Dana White talking about that. Let's just quickly breeze through the boxing world, because there's a lot to touch on. We had Teofimo savagely, win his belt back. We're hearing stuff. Obviously, an Aussie, Tim Tszyu, tearing it up.
Oh man,
Tim Tszyu, which they're trying to hopefully make
another first round win.
Hopefully they're trying to make that fight.
We
had Mayweather even fight, which missed. Sort of who knows how many times he's fighting right now.
He's fighting so
chaos. I mean, what else is standing?
No, John Gotti 3, wasn't it? Hey, look, for me, the biggest thing from all of that was that, look, I really like Teofimo Lopez. I'm a massive fan of the guy, and I think he's an amazing fighter, quite entertaining. Every time he goes out there to fight, he leaves everything out there, right? He gives it his all, and we saw him reclaim championship. Not in the same weight class he used to be, so he used to be one weight class below. He went up, and now he's claimed the championship down there, so two-division champion. And what shocked me was him unceremoniously retiring. Right. Not unceremoniously. That's not the word I want to use. It's like it was a shocking decision. He's young, right? He's really good. Unfortunately, he retired, so which is unfortunate.
It is, and I'm hearing also the Wilder Andy Ruiz look like they're really trying to get a deal.
Oh yeah, there's some rumors around that too. But there's so many rumors in the boxing world. It's hard to keep track of these things, right? Like every time, one moment you've already done the Usyk Fury, and the next moment you're not. But going back to the Teofimo Lopez one, just to confirm that, he's actually vacated the belt. Which means that he's actually official. He is retired. Hopefully we'll see him back. We know in the combat world people do come back. So, because he's a fighter with a lot of potential, and he's a great fighter, so great boxer.
Also, did you happen to see the PFL, the big highlight kick?
Oh yeah, the main event kick.
The knockout.
Yeah, it was a spinning wheel kick, wasn't it? Yeah. It was. I actually saw the highlights of it, right? It was crazy. And then Shane Burgos had a fight too. He won a decision. There was another controversial fight in there. Can't remember the name of the fighters, but they were friends. And they fought, and then they were both suspended for below par performances. They didn't want to fight each other. So look, to be honest, that the blame goes on the matchmaking, right? I mean, why would you want to do that matchmaking if you know that this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're aware of it, you've got to be careful of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see the Bellator card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What did you
did,
think of that?
Look, Bellator, yeah, it was. I mean, it didn't catch my eye as much as the UFC one.
Yeah, yeah.
But what stood out to you?
I think the Bellator one was not on the weekend, was it? So it was when Yoel Romero fought for the light heavyweight title and he lost.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad performance by Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
For the light heavyweight title, Vadim Nemkov.
Yeah.
Shut him out. So, and then it was actually a good card, to be honest. Sergio Pettis, brother of Anthony Pettis, defended his bantamweight title against Pitbull.
Yeah.
Who was trying to create history by winning a third belt, but obviously wasn't the case because he drained himself cutting weight. Yeah, that's it. That's it. There's nothing much. I mean, the Crawford fight's coming up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very excited by that.
That's a big fight.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And then the Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, obviously Zuckerberg we know is a big fan. Let's sort of paint the picture for you guys that don't know what's going on. But Mark Zuckerberg is a big UFC MMA fan who's actually been training.
Yeah.
Who dabbles in, I'm not sure what belt he might be, but he's been.
I think he's a white belt at the moment, but he does take part in jiu-jitsu competitions. We've seen him take part in MMA training. Look, we don't know how the background of Elon Musk and sort of what he does. If he does train, because most of these billionaires, they don't know how to put their lives outside in public, right? They could be training for all we know.
Yeah, like Tom Hardy has now reached.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's actually a proper. We had it all started I think with a fan just saying, you should fight Elon Musk, and then Elon Musk is like, I'm down for it, let's do it, and then I think Zuckerberg said send location, right, and then Dana White jumped on it along with all the other promoters, but he's got t-shirts going, he wants to do this fight because it's a huge money fight. The whole world watches it. Every single person in the world knows who Mark Zuckerberg is and who Elon Musk is. To see them both in a cage, people will do anything, right?
But sorry, go ahead.
I just don't know if both of these gentlemen knew how big this will blow up to be. I feel like they probably thought it's just going to be something they'll be laughed about, but people are very serious now. We have fighters jumping on bandwagon saying, I'll train you.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, but look, obviously it's not like proper fight news. It's just exciting. It's one of those exhibition fights, like what Jake Paul does, so yeah. Yeah,
with that said though, what stands out to me in terms of personality in fights was Jake Paul immediately. And I'm thinking now with PFL, why is this associated or assumed it's UFC?
Yeah.
Wouldn't this be the perfect opportunity for PFL to jump in because of their contract ability to make it a one-off fight?
No, absolutely, because they have that flexibility. I think, but we know Dana White, right? He's very headstrong. He kind of monopolizes the fight business, and he wants to get. Any promoter knows this is a big money fight, right? Because money is generated. Look, while talent and skills are great, money is generated through viewership, right? Right now, regardless of whether these guys have a background in fighting or not, people are just the names. The founder of Facebook, the founder of Tesla, they're fighting. These billionaires, they're gonna just fight each other and bleed. That's what we want to see, right? So
Twitter versus Facebook.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I
guess
guess
it was boxing, to see them each other, one maybe knock the other one out.
I don't know if they'll do boxing purely because I think Zuckerberg's training is mainly MMA. Right,
Does Musk do anything though?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I said, these guys are very, very in line with their health and fitness, right?
Yeah,
so
they
probably will be
they
training something. You know what?
Yeah.
And right now, boxing, martial arts is such a mainstream thing where everyone's training it, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are, doing some extra lessons in and there. To be honest, what's funny was Dana White bagging Francis Ngannou saying him fighting Fury is a gimmick fight. And the next week he's trying to make John Jones versus Fury. And then now he's trying to make Zuckerberg versus Musk. So it's funny, but
let me ask you the main question. Do we end up seeing it?
I don't
think
so.
it happens?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I feel like it won't happen, right? It's just because look,
Yeah.
sometimes even in the combat world, we've got all these undefeated fighters not wanting to fight each other because of the name and sort of the image they have, right?
Could you imagine Tesla's stock if he gets knocked out by
He's
Facebook?
being such big business personalities. There are stock implications, there are business implications, right? So you'll be very careful unless there's agreements put in place where it's exhibition only, there won't be any winner announced, right?
Yeah.
Like you know what Mayweather does. Like you know what I mean? Maybe that could make they could make that work, but it won't be in any form of sort of combat or competitive sense, right? It won't be like the Jake Paul's one,
Yeah, I feel like with boxing it'd be easy to be kind of like nurse each other through or stage it where it ends up in a draw, you know, and there's no real stock loser.
Oh,
but it could be like Nike and Adidas like fighting, and there might be a loser. Like,
just watch the PFL fight. That shows you how to not engage in an MMA fight. They literally don't engage.
Is it a bit like that Dan Hooker, Puertas?
Well, that was
he was just
Puertas. He just wasn't engaging at all. Dan was trying his best to engage
he
with
was
this
just
guy.
like, get up.
And he got stopped, rightfully so. But nah, man, both of them were just like running around, just touching each other. That's it.
You know what? Reminds me of Houston 2020. It was Yoel Romero versus. It was just.
Yeah, but that was more instigate, especially after seeing the Vadim Nemkov fight. We can now clearly see like Romero sometimes doesn't engage. Like he was losing the fight with Nemko and he was dancing. Do you know what I mean? Like so.
Was that Adesanya Romero?
Yeah, Adesanya Romero.
Yeah, can you believe there was a card where that Adesanya and Romero were co-main?
No, they were main.
Were main, and John Jones and what's his name? Reyes.
So that was a card before that.
Oh, was it the card before that? Okay, I thought it was the same event.
Yeah, no. So the March event was the last one before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
But I think everyone remembers that card for one fight, which was the Wei Li Zhang versus Joanna won. Yeah. Right, that was an insane fight.
Yeah, that was co-main.
Yeah, and then they go into the main event and Romero stands still. So, yeah, look, that was interesting. And also, did you see videos of? I thought Masvidal and Jake Paul didn't like each other, but they did like an interview together and everything. This was a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
I saw it and I was quite surprised. Well, there was this running video, kind of looked staged.
Yeah.
And then, like later on, they're doing a podcast together. So.
Well, it strikes me as a businessman.
Oh yeah.
I think the antagonist Jake Paul people see is a
gimmick.
Is a gimmick.
Like Dana says, gimmick.
Yeah, it's like the schmo. It's to get people to create a feeling towards him.
Yeah.
But I think behind closed doors, he's probably just a normal guy, a big fight fan.
Yeah.
But he's running PFL, or I forget what. Has a big.
Oh, he's a smart kid.
They're bagged in Ngannou.
Yeah.
I think Masvidal, if they bag him, that'll be a big.
He's extremely smart. So for his age, the revenue he's generating, the way he's engaging with the community, the way he's engaging with the fans, all that is just extremely smart. Like, and I think he's only going to grow, and he's going to be a prominent figure in the combat world. Mark my words. But just to quickly touch on the Conor McGregor one as well. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. Have you caught any of the tough episodes?
I haven't yet. I must admit, I've got to catch up on them.
Yeah.
But I'm more concerned about us not getting the little the reward at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, it seems more and more murkier now because he hasn't entered the USADA pool according to reports. Again, we don't know. We're not there, but man, I'd love to see that fight, but we don't know what's going on. And Conor McGregor, he seems to sort of be enjoying life, traveling around. So I don't know how much dialed in he is into this fight. Maybe he's been told the fight's happening next year, so he knows he can take some time away. I've been following the tough season, and so far it's been one-sided, man. Like the Michael Chandler's team's been dominating. So let's not forget they are the veterans. He's got the veterans team, but still, like it's just been like quite one-sided at the moment.
I feel like there's so many business ventures and things, ways that McGregor can make money, like through his promotion.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, what has he been doing with Does he actually promote any events? Now you had McGregor Promotion. Was that just a part of a collab with the Mayweather event? Because we're seeing Masvidal with his own promotion.
No, I don't think McGregor has a promotion at the moment.
Okay.
But I think he helped run the Katie Taylor fight in Ireland.
Yeah.
So he helped with that. But his current main focus is that Black Forge in and is stout
Okay.
production.
Stout,
Yeah. So that's where he's focusing on, because obviously he's still brand ambassador, and he's still, I believe he will have royalties for Proper 12, but I think he sold that.
Okay.
Right. So look, he's got a lot of money. Like Dana says, like when you have a lot of money, right? It's just there's two fights that are, so as a fight fan, it frustrates us. One is uncertainty around the Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler fight, and the other one is uncertainty around what John Jones doing next.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be honest, man, I don't mind him fighting Fury some other time, but I'd like to see the Stipe fight first. We never got the Ngannou versus John Jones one, right? So it'll be a crime if we also miss out on the Stipe John Jones one. Talking of which, did you see John Jones and Francis bumped into each other? Yeah, they were quite cordial and respectful, but you could see the tension just simmering there.
Ducking, People ducking each other.
Yeah, so it was great to see that. They were showing respect as well.
Well, this has been a great episode, touching on everything recently. Give us a like, a subscribe. We're bringing you the weekly roundup every week, and we'll also be bringing you a recap. We'll be bringing you some live streams soon. Catch us in the next episode of That's a Tap.
I said, guys, peace out.